Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, and I was reading Luke 1 today, and it was talking about Zechariah. Zechariah was an old man, and him and his wife hadn't got any children, and he was very dutiful. And he went into the sanctuary and he saw an angel sitting on the right hand of the altar. And the angel spoke to him about him having children. He didn't believe, so the angel silenced him, so that he says, since you don't believe, I'm gonna strike you dumb until the baby's born. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I was wondering about the significance of the right hand. Jesus often talks about the right hand of God. He says, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. And then I think about Zechariah and the angel sitting on the right hand side of the altar. And then I think about Jesus, the angel in the tomb, and he was on the right side also. And I was wondering about the significance of it, the right hand side. Because when you think about the right hand, it's the one that you shake hands with. It's when you think about right, it's got different meanings, hasn't it? It's got right as in direction, turn right. It's also when you do something right, you do something correct. If you, and it also has something to do with, quality, the goodness in the quality of yourself. And I forget what other meanings it has, but most of the time when you think about the right hand of God, you wonder why the right hand is so significant. And and it's a reason why a lot of left-handed people were considered cursed back in the day. Not now, but back in the day they were considered cursed. And when the right hand, the right side of the brain controls your creativity, your passion, that kind of stuff. The left hand, in the Bible, it says it's got to do with weakness and foolishness. So is it, when Jesus says he wants to sit on the right hand of God, does that just mean that he wants to be his right hand? Because we do have that saying also, you're my right hand. That means you're very essential to me. The right hand is essential if you're right-handed. And so when you're thinking about the right hand of God, was that Jesus wanting to be essential to God the Father by sitting on his right side? That meant he had a place of honor and respect. And he had done right by Jesus, by God. And so people vied for the right side. And I'm not quite sure how much significance we should give to that. I'm sorry about the lighting. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, I just wasn't sure about the significance. And I wrote down a few little bits. Let me see what I've written down here. I put Zechariah was old. His wife Elizabeth was barren. John, who was the child that was born to them, must never drink wine or alcoholic drinks. And I was wondering how they'd actually control that. How do you control your child not to ever have an alcoholic drink? Anyway, he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even before his birth. And that was John they were talking about. So being filled with the Holy Spirit, he was already privileged just by being born. He will prepare people for the coming of the Lord. So that is what he did by baptizing. And Zechariah doubted and was made dumb until the child was born. Elizabeth said to the Lord, the Lord is kind. He has taken away my disgrace of having no children. Because children back in the day was considered an honour, it was a privilege, it was a blessing. Children would carry on the legacy, and it was a curse not to have children. So she felt as though she'd been given a second chance, even though she was quite old. What else have I got? Right side, good and proper. Heart of the wise inclines to the right, foolish to the left. The left hand is sometimes considered as judgment. And I was trying to think about, you know, when they say, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. That's like, because your right hand is so essential and your right hand is what governs, that's only if you're right-handed, governs all your writing and I guess the right-hand brain. I'm not quite sure how you can put that into words. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. To me, it reminds me of, you know, like if you've got a lot of friends, you don't really let anyone know when you're making plans that anyone else could mess up. So it's about keeping important things to yourself and not sharing them with others, even your close friends. That's what it tells me. I'm not quite sure if that's a valid reason or if that's what you would consider the interpretation, but I'd be really interested to know what you interpret. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. The left hand, if the left hand is considered weak and foolish and the right hand is considered good, it's a bit like don't let the evil and the weak kind of sway the good or do anything to spoil the good. I guess it's got something to do with things like temptation, that kind of stuff. But like I said, if you have any thoughts, what else have I got here? Right is compliance, the left is defiance. And that made me think about, you know, when they're talking about right being good and left being bad, it reminds me of black and white, you know, black being evil and white being good. It's the same kind of principle, isn't it? And it's what people take on, and that's the thing with words. People kind of assume that the meaning of words are true when you think it's humans that assigned meanings to words. So who said black is dark and evil and white is good and pure, and then assign those traits to human beings? And it's the same like right and left. Who was to say that just because you're using your right hand, you're a better person than somebody who's using their left hand? So we have to be very, very careful about the meanings we give to words and how we actually use those words and accept those words as being true, because it's not necessarily true. Sitting on the right hand of God, that is a statement that was used back in the day, and to me it just meant that Jesus wanted to be integral, an integral part of God's decisions, God's life, and as a son of God, he wanted to be his right hand, his, you know, his key spar, you know, who the main man. That's what it tells me, you know, sitting on the right hand of God, you are the main person. And that is how we need to be as human beings. We need to be integral. We need to be dependable, reliable. We need to be essential when it comes to doing what is right and supporting those people in our lives who need our support. We need to be their right hand. Anyway, I feel as though I'm waffling. I'm not quite sure what else to say here. God, I read somewhere, it said God's left hand works to make people outwardly good. The right hand works to make people inwardly holy. The source of that was Mount Zion, Greenfield, but I didn't feel comfortable with that interpretation. The right side of the brain controls creativity, artistic, rationale, consciousness, logic, aggression and passion. But like I said, I think there is a deeper meaning. Maybe it'll come to me afterwards. I'll just pray on it and hopefully something will come. But in the meantime, I really would appreciate your thoughts. I'm not getting much comments on my videos. Not quite sure why. But yeah, it would be really great if you could comment and let me have some thoughts. Okay then, bye-bye.